we are the loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run. Yes, we are the loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run.
Hello and welcome to another victory edition of the HLS podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Ritter. You can call me ND Tex. As always, you can join us live over here on twitch.tv/HerLoyalSons. Come join us in Discord. That is our live chat channel, HerLoyalSons.com/Discord. And make sure you subscribe to us on the podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you happen to get your podcasts at. And of course, you can always find us at our home at HerLoyalSons.com. And with that, I bring in Shane and a crawling Raina everywhere.
Yep. It's me. She's now just looking for the camera, so that's her thing. Yeah, man, it's good. Another week. This time a glorious blowout and a bunch of other ones apparently. So
yeah, it was an interesting week, and I didn't have my college football Saturday was weird. As people saw on my Twitter feed, I posted a picture of a bowling alley as I was doing a little bowling thing for my work. We're involved in something that helps the Special Olympics of Texas. So that was my event. Originally, it was going to be in the evening, so I didn't think I was going to have to miss any of the Notre Dame game, and they kicked it back on us. But you know what? This was a game to have it happen. I did miss the majority of Auburn, Florida, but I did catch up on it, and I got some thoughts.
Yeah. So do they.
Oh, man. But yeah, so this recap's a little interesting because, as Shane mentioned, we did have a lot of blowouts, but we also had, and we've never done this before, actually posting on the stream how many teams were on byes this week. Because it was kind of absurd. You had Alabama and Clemson, so you had the top two teams in the nation taking a break. Then you have 5 teams that got to sit at home, eat cheeseburgers, and rise up in the rankings. Utah moves up 2 spots to 15. Arizona State, Herm is now in the top 20 solidly, moving up to number 18. Wake Forest moves up 3 spots to 19. Virginia 3 spots up to 20. Strength of schedule, yay! And Texas A&M moves up 1 spot to 24, and they're gonna take on Alabama this upcoming week. So we're gonna catch up on a lot of things. We got this upcoming weekend's pretty freaking loaded, but there was still football that happened. Like we said, there was a lot of blowouts. The only one we're gonna cover is our own blowout because we had one of those as well. But let's go ahead and get started on what was definitely the marquee game of the day. And Auburn falls to number 12 after losing to Florida 24-13. Florida now raises to number 7 in the rankings that came out today. And well, Shane, Bo Nix finally played like a freshman. Yeah,
he played like a freshman. It was bad. Like Bo, I mean, we all watched the Florida-Miami game at the beginning of the season. Like, we understand that Florida's got this defense, but Florida might as well have been playing in 2006 in this game.
Right.
Because, yikes, Bo Nix. Also, Florida managed to do this losing their, third quarterback now or second quarterback for like half the game, who eventually came back, thankfully, Kyle Trask. But this was just like, whatever we thought of Auburn, why? What happened? Why?
It's the same story. And look, I'm not going to get super down on Nix because he was, and this was different than the way Aguilar went down. They took the crowd out of the game pretty quick. They got on the scoreboard pretty fast. Not so much here. Florida brought it a little bit better than the Aggies did. That let the crowd stay into it a little bit more. And this happens every time with Auburn. If they do not have good quarterback play, it all falls apart. And 11 for 27 already is very concerning if you're Auburn. 145 total yards of passing, also very concerning because the whole thing is you got to get Auburn is saying as much speed as they have is like somebody just has to get the ball into the playmaker's hands. That's all you have to do. Well, you can't do that throwing 3 interceptions.
No, sir.
His quarterback.
I mean, wrong playmakers. Wrong playmakers.
You're right. His quarterback rating, and again, I don't like doing too many QB ratings. I never have, but when it is this low, it's worth mentioning. 6.6.
Yeah.
Seems bad. Seems real bad.
I don't want to be that guy, but them's Dane Chris numbers, my friends.
Oh,
Come
man.
on.
So on Florida's end, LaMichael Pirine, 14 carries, 130 yards, and that includes an 88-yard TD dagger in the fourth quarter that pretty much helped put this away. And apparently there was a side story when I was catching up on everything that Auburn was trying to recruit him, but kind of sort of didn't really have him too high up on the priority list, so Florida ended up taking him. So this ended up being a revenge spot, and he was up on the podium saying, yeah, guess I thought I went that fast. You know,
Damn.
what I've heard before.
Damn. I mean, look, like, if there's anything that I can empathize with the most about this sport, it's absolute pettiness. Like, I am here. That's what this sport's about. It's not about, like, oh, we went to the college national champ. To me, it's about, hey, we beat you. See you next year, fuckface. I'm all about it. But at the same time, it's like, to me, okay, Bo Nix had a bad day, but wasn't this Auburn defense supposed to, I don't know, conceal some of that?
And that's the other end of this. When you give up, you know, an 88-yard TD run, because here's the thing. You're supposed to have all this speed on defense as well. It's not just the line that is causing problems. They didn't get a whole bunch of havoc of any kind going on there. It was, they laid an egg. I mean, quite frankly, they laid an egg, and they tried to stay, they were within striking distance, and then all of a sudden they weren't. And any time, and again, I swear this is like a tale as old as time at Auburn. It's like, oh, we got a chance. There's a chance to get right back in there. Oh, we just turned it over. Yeah, and that's the story of the game. So, look, Bo Nix wasn't going to be invincible. He was bound to have a fuck up here at some point. I am just shocked that it was Florida because, like you said, Shane, I'm still not bought in on Florida being top 10 at all. But they're going to be able to conceal most of this being in the SEC East until they run into Georgia, and then that should change things.
Yeah, I was going to say, ask Tennessee about that, how that felt for a half.
Oh, dear God. Just murdered.
They got exposed. I mean, they led for a little bit, and then right before the half, they gave up 2 scores. Oh, shit.
Hey, it's like the Virginia thing. It's like, oh, wait, we could turn on that murder switch. Although Tennessee couldn't put up nearly any kind of a fight at all. But let's go ahead and move on. We're going to...
not putting up a fight.
Oh, God. I mean, this Ohio State now raises up to be tied for third in the nation after beating Michigan State and covering, once again, 34-10. And the spread was in the 20s, folks. And this was, at least for me, a no doubt lock as usual. And here's how this game kind of went down. It like kind of started off slow. Then Sparty has their all 10 points in the second quarter, and that was it. They fumbled their first 2 drives. The Buckeyes couldn't take advantage. They end up only getting 3 points. They tried 2 field goals, only made 1. And then the talent just took over. J.K. Dobbins, again, just a nightmare.
That was it. When J.K. Dobbins decided, oh, you know what? I think I'll play today. Fuck it. Because the first 2, like you said, in the beginning, the first quarter, Michigan State's defense did a decent job. I mean, forcing an immediate 3 and out. You know, they deferred to the second half, and Ohio State gets the ball first, and oh shit, Michigan State makes them lose 4 yards. They gain nothing. It's like, oh shit, okay, maybe D'Antonio's got his whole play up to the moment thing. You know, he's got 2 wins over this team in his tenure there. So it's like, okay, there's a possibility. And then J.K. Dobbins decided to play. And that was it. That was it. The 67-yard run basically started the bleeding, and it never stopped.
Yeah, and that 67-yard run was a part of a 172-yard night on 24 carries. Justin Fields didn't have his best game, but he had a decent one, 17 for 25. So, I mean, the completion rate, good. Only 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Yeah. But Ohio State, I mean, they got the defense, and Michigan State doesn't have much of an offense. We've already seen that this season.
Has Brian Lewerke been quarterback for like 8 years now?
And he still hadn't figured it out yet. I mean, he's trying as best he can, but that defense is so good at Michigan State. And the offense, it's just a matter of time. This was an old Alabama crockpotting, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. Set that shit on Instant Pot and walk away.
Yeah, it's like eventually this is going to... You need to take advantage or it's going to turn piss poor for you. So we'll see.
It didn't take long.
So this game was actually on at the bowling alley, so I got to see a decent part of this game, and that was Texas staying at number 11, 42-31 over West Virginia. This game, if you were a Texas fan, was way too fucking close for comfort.
Stressful.
But this is another one of those games to where West Virginia kind of had it.
Yeah.
The problem, there's a theme going on here. It's like every week. It infects the nation. 4 interceptions from Austin Kendall.
Look at that. Hey, is that how you win? That's not how you win.
Yeah,
right?
and the thing is that in the fourth quarter, which is where Texas finally exploded at the end, I think they scored, if I remember right, 21 points in the fourth. 2 of those touchdowns came off of interceptions, and they also, their first touchdown of the game came off a West Virginia interception. So that's 21 points off interceptions right there.
Yep. There was a guy. Someone in the chat just mentioned that the horns down was almost seen again. There was a guy who made kind of a little bit of a mini name for wearing a horns down shirt, and very proudly throwing the horns down around in the media at the beginning of the game, and then they shot back to him in the fourth quarter. And he was on the counter like, oh shit.
We're looking
kind of like the Virginia fan hanging over the side.
Yeah, we're looking live at somebody that wishes they weren't there anymore.
Yep. Yeah. West Virginia kept this close because Ellinger threw the one pick he threw was at a point where West Virginia was still within 4 points, and it almost felt like, oh shit, here we go. The tide is shifting. This is it. And then they threw fucking 2 more of their own. So it's like they just wanted to warn you, like, hey, just so you know, just remember. Yeah,
Ellinger has a pedestrian game, 18 for 33, 221, 2 touchdowns, and the aforementioned pick. Roshan Johnson gets 121 yards on the ground. He leads the way for Texas there. But yeah, West Virginia probably would have had a better shot at this if they did not turn the ball over so damn much. And look, this is a Texas secondary that is much improved, but also a secondary that is suffering from some injuries as well.
Yes.
So for those Red Plague wanting to see the horns down, they're facing a little team called Oklahoma next week.
Incoming! I was going to say, does this bode well? Because I don't think so.
I mean, if you want to do devil's advocate for Texas, is that, okay, look ahead game. On the road, unranked West Virginia, and, you muck around, but thankfully they made more mistakes than you, and you're right back in it. But you're focused on Oklahoma, because that is the season, basically. And they're probably going to face each other twice, once next week, and then in the Big 12 title game, because round robin Big 12 bullshit going down. But all right, we're gonna talk about the Pac-12 for a second. We're gonna lead off with, I try to watch this game, Shane. I really try to watch this game at Pac-12's After Dark. Stanford upsets Washington, who is now knocked out of the top 25, 23-13.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about Washington anymore.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I mentioned this before the show, but it's like, remember how we always thought, like, okay, Washington, Chris Peterson, good defense, generally speaking. Also, always Jake Locker at quarterback, forever and ever. Whoever the fuck his name is, it's Jake Locker. But I think they kind of got away with that ranking that they brought into the season because of that preconceived notion. Because frankly, like, we just kind of stopped noticing. Once Oregon kind of bounced back into the picture and looked like their offense was the shit, and Justin Herbert is literally the best, quarterback in the nation, the best pro prospect or whatever the fuck. Like, we kind of just forgot that Washington wasn't really anything special at this point. Plus, they had lost most of their production on their defense from the year before. And then they met Stanford, who had no offensive line, and got wrecked. What happened?
And that's really, the secondary has always been the question marks. They had a good bounce back against Southern Cal, and I remember saying in the pick game, in the picks pod rather, that I wasn't going to hold the weird weather delay thing with Cal because that was all kinds of weird. But they played just about like that. They got drugged down into a rock fight, and Stanford's offensive line is an absolute mash unit right now. They have 7 healthy scholarship players on their O-line. Yet Cameron Scarlett runs 33 3 times.
Unreal.
For 151 yards and a touchdown. You shouldn't
Yeah,
be giving up that many because Stanford's O-line wasn't good to begin with. It's not good now that it's lost everybody.
Yeah, man. I think the takeaway from this is like, what do we take anything away about this or from this about Stanford? Does this tell us anything? Because frankly, I just feel like Washington didn't show up to play. I watched 3 quarters of this game and then fell asleep. It was evident that Washington just didn't. They weren't interested. It's like they didn't want to be there at a certain point. Stanford took a 10-something lead, and then that was it.
Yeah, and the weird part with Stanford, I mean, Low. Oh, God, one of these days I'll pronounce it. I need a pronunciation guide. Low. I'm just gonna call you Low just for now. But Davis Mills plays quarterback in this because KJ Costello's still out. He has a very good night. 21 for 30, 293 yards, 1 touchdown. I don't think Stanford fans are going to go as far as saying KJ who at this point as you suggest, Low.
Although I did. For a second, I was like, "Oh shit, he's still there." I thought he was gone.
No, well, I mean, he's gone for injury right now. But I mean, when Washington coughs up 500 yards total, there's something else that stinks behind there. And so I've watched Stanford play too many games. Watch them play terrible in way too many games. So, I mean, this is the Pac-12, man.
I mean, basically they all agreed, like, hey, let's all get in a room. Who are we nominating this year? Can it just be Oregon? And then if they lose, we're all fucked? Great. It's Oregon? Great. We'll see what happens.
Oh, we want to talk about Oregon for a second?
Sure thing.
So, the other side of that weird weather delay game was Cal, who was the last Pac-12 undefeated. They lose last week, and it's like now they remembered exactly who they were. But on the other side of the coin, Oregon does win this game, but they do it 17-7.
Barely.
Oregon didn't score until the third quarter. They were shut out for an entire half.
Yeah.
And look, Cal's defense is good, but not to this level. This is... I don't understand. I don't understand the Pac-12 at all at this point.
Yeah, it's like the Pac-12 doesn't understand what the Pac-12 is at all either. I mean, at this point, it's a perennial nobody wants the spot. And this used to be the Big 12's thing, right? This used to be every fucking year, TCU, Baylor, and fucking Oklahoma and Texas would all fucking cannibalize each other, and nobody would want to go to a playoff except for Oklahoma when they decided to get their shit together. But now it's like the Pac-12 just, we're ranked? Oh, it'd be a shame if we lost. And they do, almost always, or they disappoint, like Oregon did this week.
Yeah, and look, Oregon put up over 400 yards of offense, and they only came out with 17 points. But they turned the ball over 3 times. That doesn't help. Cal only put up 256 yards of offense, so they should have the doors blown off them. Oregon was clearly the better team, especially if you're using Michigan yard points logic there.
Oh, no.
The other ugly stat from this game, Cal had 98 penalty yards. Oregon tried to keep up with 85 of their own. What in the actual fuck were these two teams doing?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's when the Pac-12 has a team that is expected to be dominant, that is when the lower opponent brings them down into like a bare knuckle mud fight, and it's just like all bets are off. They're using nails, they're plucking eyeballs, they're pulling hair, like they don't give a shit.
Literally, with all these penalty yards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they just start fighting, like physically fighting each other, and it's just you end up having a result where you get a Cal team that you would expect a defensive, performance, and you look at a score from Oregon playing Cal, and you think, okay, 17 points, got it. Cal was better than we thought. They just couldn't keep up offensively. But the reality is that Oregon wasn't interested in keeping up offensively. They just wanted to fight each other and turn the ball over. Yeah,
it was an extremely weird game, and they played a hell of a lot like the next game we're going to talk about.
I feel so bad for Pac-12 fans, man.
Iowa, Michigan. Oh, God. Holy shit. Okay. So Iowa drops down to 17 because of this 10-3 loss. And Michigan jumps up to 16, which, you know what? Just keep rising. Whatever.
Buddy.
Fuck it. Just keep going.
Good for you.
This game was absolutely atrocious. And look, Gus talking about Big Nude Saturday. Everybody was showing their ass in this game. My God.
Can I just point out, you see that score right there? That was the score after the first quarter.
Yes, and it just stayed.
That's it.
So don't think that Michigan got their offense figured out. If you thought that after Rutgers, like, holy crap, I want your drugs. But
right game, no.
It was, oh God, it was so bad. So Iowa has 4 turnovers in this game, and that's really the big story because Stanley, I don't know what was going on with him. I don't know if Ty is still going to be on his Stink for Stanley campaign because he stunk all by himself on this. I don't think any NFL teams want him after this particular performance. And the yards were about equivalent. Michigan had 6 more yards than Iowa, so it's kind of hilarious that they only got 7 more points.
God damn it.
But Michigan was trying so hard to lose this football game. The offense had nothing. They were lucky they didn't lose a whole lot of fumbles because they were fumbling. How does ball security get so bad for one team?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Whatever the opposite of whatever Clark Lee's got going on with the strips and the fumbles and the forcing turnovers, Michigan is like the perfect prototype for that. It's like, hey, you want to practice stripping the ball because we have no idea how to hold it. Please have one. This is part of what I'm like. I'm so looking forward to watching Notre Dame's defense just get access to this offense because this is Iowa. Like Iowa, they've had respectable defenses, I guess, comparatively in the Big Ten. You'd think Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State, Iowa. Like they're all up in that category of respected, vaunted defenses. But man, Michigan, what the fuck? Like they just tried to give it away, and yet, what do we see? Iowa, how many points? 3? Okay, great. I love this conference. Kill me.
And here's the other thing: when you think Iowa, I know this is going to be almost an oxymoron, but when you think Iowa offense, what do you actually think about what they can do well?
They run the ball.
So that would imply they got an offensive line worth half a shit, right? Their O-line got destroyed this entire game.
Flat.
It was like watching Notre Dame take out Virginia all over again.
Yep.
13 tackles for loss for Michigan, 8 sacks, and 6 QB hurries on top of that. The entire last half of the game was Stanley running for dear life because nobody could block for him.
Yep. You would have thought Michigan had like a top 3 defense watching this game. And yet you realize it's Michigan, so you're not that dumb.
even the SP Plus, I know a lot of people were like, how's Michigan ranked above? But they came screaming back down to earth. Look,
scorched.
Stats will end up correcting themselves, folks. And remember, it's not a resume ranking because everyone's like, oh, Mizzou's up there, which I'm convinced now. And this is my headcanon, at least for this 1 week, because Mizzou's top 10. And Bill C. is a Mizzou alum, right?
Of course.
So I'm like, so for years, he's been waiting for the moment to where he could tweak the formulas in a perfect fashion to shove Mizzou into the top 10. And it's paid off this week.
The mistake was made in that the system saw MI and thought, oh, that might be Missouri. Oh, it's Michigan. Oops.
It just depends on what week.
Yeah, algorithms.
All right. Well, I think it is time to do one of our weekly segments here, Shane.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be playing the Reigns of Kashmir instead of
kind of, because this was okay. So this is what happened, right? UCF showed its whole ass this game, and that primarily
Big Nude Friday too.
Yep, Big Nude Friday, and Dylan Gabriel, man, he looked. I mean, he did his best Bo Nix impression early. He kind of set the tone for the freshman quarterback situation.
3 interceptions.
Okay, one of those was a pick 6. They should have been 2 because he threw one that was called back on a penalty at one point, and I was like, well, shit. Looks like Cincinnati found something that was basically evident the whole game. They saw a wrinkle or a favorable matchup, but they also noticed something about the way Dylan was throwing the ball, like his timing. They had almost every route read and jumped on time. It was just evident that they were going to have to outscore Cincinnati. But, I mean, I know their coaches look fickle, but the only thing fickle was the UCF offense because everything else was fucking humming for Cincinnati. Everything else was working. Their defense was shutting them down. It was bad.
Yeah, 27-24 is your final. UCF is gone from the top 25.
Bye.
Cincinnati climbs into the top 25. And yeah, another one looking like fresh for the first time. And Cincinnati as well, 200 rushing yards, damn near, in this one. So UCF's been playing, not absurd defense, but solid enough defense. And now any hope of the New Year's 6 bid, it gone.
You take that shit and get the fuck out of here. We'll see you in the Gator Bowl, buddy. Bye. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm kind of glad that they're getting this crash back down to earth moment because the whole claim the national title thing, like even when I anecdotally tell people how funny that was, everyone's immediate reaction is, what the fuck? So it's like, yeah, they might have needed a little bit of humble pie and they need to kind of reestablish. Plus, I mean, it's Josh Heupel's team now. So it's time to reestablish their own level of dominance. They can't keep riding the Scott Frost hype train for any longer. Now Nebraska has to deal with digging the coals out to get that shit going. But yeah, bad.
Yeah, it was bad, but not all hope is lost here in the group of 5. Not all hope is lost, and we're not talking about murder smurfs here. We're talking about them ponies over at SMU.
Pony. Dude,
best game. This game was...
Best game.
I'm going to have this on at some point when I need, instead of the afternoon cup of coffee, I'm just going to skip ahead to the fourth quarter of this game. SMU wins this in triple overtime, 43-37.
Yeah.
But SMU, starting the fourth quarter, trailed 30-9, 21-point deficit. They make it all up in the fourth quarter and force overtime.
Yeah. Now, the funniest part about this is that basically SMU had back-to-back chances to fucking flat out lose. Like it just was gonna happen. So first, they don't get their points. They turn the ball over in second overtime. Tulsa gets the ball. No problem, right? We start on the fucking 30. All I gotta do is kick a field goal. Well, they get sacked into fucking oblivion, and they miss the first one. Sure. Tulsa then gets the ball to start the third overtime, and they're like, okay, one more time, guys. We can kick it, right? And it fucking just ducks into the air and wobbles, doesn't even hit the fucking crossbar, doesn't even get there, goes nowhere, and then SMU on one play later, scores a touchdown.
And that's the thing. It was that they only need a field goal to win at that point.
Yep.
They're just like, nope, we're just going to whip it all out right in front of you.
Suck my pony nuts. I don't care.
And that throw and catch was absolutely incredible. Highlight reel, no matter where it is in the game. The fact that it won the damn thing was just unbelievable art.
Nothing but respect from one Shane to another Shane. Shane fucking Buechele. Hey, I got to say, I remember when I saw he was going to transfer to SMU of all places, I thought, why? Really? I understand. I'm okay, Dallas. Okay, Texas, got it. But and then here we are. I'm on my second plate of crow, man. I'm eating all of it because holy shit.
I'm shocked. I didn't realize what the red plague had, that there was a new kicker that came in for that.
Yeah, the third overtime guy, they were so upset about the second overtime kick that they were like, okay, we know you've never kicked before.
It went full Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Just do the thing you were recruited to do. Nope.
Well,
I love this game so much, guy. And Twitter was a fucking fiesta when we were watching this shit. It was amazing.
I wish I could take more part of it because that was an absolutely ridiculous ending. One of the funniest things I did manage to see on Twitter, though, and I forgot who the hell it was, But it said it's really funny that we now have a name, image, and likeness law getting passed around in various states, and all of a sudden SMU's undefeated.
SMU's like, hi guys. Something about money? Who said money? Money?
So you're saying Shane is like, why is it transferring to SMU?
Yeah.
Oh, they've been waiting for this moment, Shane. Been
You heard the
waiting.
register. Cha-ching.
And there's multiple people, and I've heard it on, Stu's like, hey, there's some booster down at SMU saying, back in business, boys.
Yeah, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Come sell
Pony
cars at my
Express.
dealership.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Who was it? I forget. That took the car from SMU and then drove it down to College Station.
Oh, Jesus
Who the fuck
Christ.
did that? God, I'm going to kick myself for
idea.
that. Dude, we need more of that stuff. You talk about weird petty shit. That's a power move and a half right there.
Hell yes.
All right, so that about wraps it up. Low asking if Alabama and Clemson are going to be motivated after the bye week. I don't know. They should be. Clemson.
Do they have to be? I mean, they kind of just show up and drop their dicks on tables. So no one really.
Alabama is going to be playing Texas A&M, so if they're not motivated for an actual functional team that's pretty good or fairly good, that'll give them a challenge, then, well, that sucks for Alabama. But, I mean, both teams have a bye on that one.
Yeah, what better motivation than to be like, oh, you're ranked again?
Yeah. And trust me, as an Aggie fan, I've been like, oh, let's enjoy this while it lasts because this schedule's hard as hell, and you don't look so good right now.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, and Clemson plays in the ACC. I think they had their one moment of getting scared, and they've had an entire week to think about it.
Yeah, as Virginia Tech proved, nothing matters in the ACC.
Oh, God,
nothing fucking matters.
I cannot believe they won.
Nothing fucking matters in the ACC, dude. A friend of mine was texting me. He's like, I was listening to the radio all week, and they were like, it'd be really good for Miami to like stretch their legs and really get their offense humming against this garbage Virginia Tech team. And I was like, hey, buddy, you all right? Doing okay, dude? Yikes.
Oh, God, the AC. So many destruction
conferences
Durbans,
don't
man.
give a fuck.
It's incredible.
They don't give a fuck.
All right, well, speaking of stretching our legs, get the offense back under us, we did have one game in which that happened. That would be Notre Dame's, and we will talk about that right after this. All right, folks, thank you for everybody that's joining us live. This is our usual podcast break here. I'm actually disappointed Milfy's not here taunting me about the Cowboys. But if you do want to taunt me about the Cowboys via some bits, you're more than welcome to, because talk about showing whole ass. Oh, my God, that game was on drugs. And usually NFL games are not on drugs like that. But yes, and also for those of you that have Twitch Prime, make sure you are checking if that sub is now available once again. That is a nice free way to help the channel. And, of course, subs will help as well. And with that, we're going to get right back into it. Well, Shane, Brian Van Gorder, the cure for the offense that's struggling. 52-0.
I love that guy, man. I'm at the point now where it's come full circle. Thank you, Brian Van Gorder. Thank you for everything.
All right, there's some beautiful poetry that the last shutout in Notre Dame Stadium was the Remember the Six game, coached by Brian Van Gorder for Notre Dame. And the next shutout is the one where he's coaching on the other side. Now, he had nothing to do with the offense, but it's just still great that he booked into the shutouts.
I imagine he's updating his resume as we speak. Participated in 2 shutouts at Notre Dame Stadium. Back-to-back appearances. Shutout. Yeah, dude. This was catharsis incarnate, man. We were all just cracking jokes, having a good time, posting memes. I was screenshotting the game throughout, just being like, when can I take a shot at BVG? All the time? All the time.
This is one where I watch when I watch this again, I wish I had like how Twitch will have the chat. I want Twitter to just be able to go like the chat.
Rolling feed. Hell yeah, dude. I mean, I'm sad Book didn't. He really wanted that share, you could tell, of that passing touchdown record when he just overthrew McKinley at the last second, and he was the kind of beside himself where he's like, I'm gonna punch me in the face later. I'm gonna do it. But man, 5 touchdown passes for Ian Book. I mean, even Djokovic finally got his first touchdown. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was great to watch, and especially because the way the game started, it looked like the sim was going to be better than what the reality was going to be, because they start going 3 and out, and not only did they go 3 and out, they went 3 and out in the most frustrating way possible, which was BVG actually drops 8, rushes 3, and Book panics. The
Yes.
offensive line was not even struggling, and he
Nope.
goes and takes off. He doesn't make it, and we're like, okay, that's
Okay.
not supposed to happen. Then all of a sudden, MTA goes down, and we're like, oh shit, no,
Yeah.
no, let's not get hurt in this game. No, don't do this. And then all of a sudden, the next drive is like the entire offense just fucking with you guys. They put up 21 points in the first quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, they showed up like, so you bought it, right? We were all in on it, guys. High five, let's go score.
MTA comes back in the field.
Yeah, in your face. I mean, there were like the first drive, like the first 5. I tweeted it. It's been 5 plays, and I'm fucking furious. They had the 3 and out. MTA goes down. Chase Claypool left the field with an ankle problem, and I was like, "Are you no, stop it!" And
We
then,
need you for
we
next
never looked
week.
back. Yep.
Oh gosh, but yeah, Book only has 4 passes hit the ground the entire game, so much
that
better.
all?
Now, here's one thing we have to talk about Book though. Obviously, there's a BVG factor, but at least from the parts I watched, it looked like he didn't need to check down at all, which is good. But I'm also wondering because Flutie actually hit on it. They put up a stat that was extremely concerning that if Book released the ball, I think it was like less than 2.5 seconds or something.
2.5 seconds or less, lighting the world on
Yeah,
fire.
just, I mean, like NCAA record setting type shit. Is
Yeah.
the 80% plus passer that we're like, where did this guy come from?
Yeah.
That's
It was
where he
86 or
is.
some shit.
But anytime beyond that, and as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, that means anytime he's got to look somewhere else, he sucks. And
Yes.
Flutie, for as much as we give him shit, actually keyed in on that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
said that,
I mean,
that's what it tells me.
yeah. I mean, okay. So first of all, Flutie's I feel like his whole job, whether he was asked to or not, is to, can you please find a way to make the other team seem amazing and shit on Notre Dame while you can? Like, that's just kind of like the role he's decided to take up. Like, whereas Mayock was much more X's and O's to a too far in degree, he just wants to remind you, like, hey, I used to play for a team that doesn't like Notre Dame, and these are the things that I don't like about Notre Dame. That's his whole fucking job. But that particular, when that shit came up, I paused it. I was like, wait, 80-something%? It was like the 2.5 seconds or less was like 86%, and then the 2.6 or more was 34 or 35%. I was like,
It was
what?
obscene, and I wish I'm going to need to grab that when I do get a chance to rewatch this again, because that'll be another afternoon cup of coffee right there, just to watch this world get lit on fire.
But it is exactly like you said. The second his progression goes past number 1, maybe number 2 for a check down, that's it. He's got to scan the field. You know what he's going to do? Run and throw it away or throw it nowhere or take 5 fucking yard losses. That's what he's done all year.
Yeah, and that's the concerning part. So obviously when we go and face SC, we're going to see, okay, did he get the confidence to be able to maneuver around in the pocket again? He actually took a hit and threw a touchdown, which we haven't seen. He ran actual RPOs again, and running RPOs to commit, no less, which was just like, where's this shit been the whole time?
Yeah.
This is why you're back here. This is the Chip Long offense realized. Yep. So there's a lot of positives to take from it. Obviously, you hope it's enough to get his head right, because everything with Book, it's not a mechanical thing. It's not a Wimbush. God, he's just inaccurate, and we can't do half our plays because they're all based on timing and precision. It is just, can he get his head right? So, and hopefully this game, and look, sometimes the head's a weird thing, especially when it comes to sports, man. Because while this does mean nothing, this could be the thing that lets Book light everything on fire. Especially because in there, he took a hit and threw a touchdown. It's like, oh, yeah, right, I can do that still.
Yeah, I can just let it go where I intended to let it go and still fall down.
And that throw was perfect. It was right
beautiful.
on the money.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of signs that, obviously Bowling Green is it's a learning curve, so you have to take everything with a slight grain of salt, right? But, I mean, you can see that when they try to execute things that aren't just cutesy fucking screens whenever they randomly decide to mix it up, they can actually hum. If they lean on their running backs and they actually trust their offensive line and they get their tight ends involved, especially that 2 fucking tight end set that seems to be just annihilating shit now. Oh, wait, Komet's back. Look at that.
And Tremble can run block more than anybody thought we were going to.
Tremble, man. Like, I mean, back-to-back weeks just like pasting the floor with fucking people. Like the dude is a blocking machine, Tony Jones got to, enjoy the better of that, 100+ yards, not
On
a touchdown
7 carries.
on 7 fucking carries. Like, dude, come on. Like, there are all the signs that the offense is capable of humming, right? Of really, clicking on all cylinders, and not just because you're playing a shit opponent, like, to actually keep up with, your defense, which is literally designed to erase teams. It's just about Book. It really just falls to, is he mentally shook? Is he impatient? Is he hoping to gain yards no matter what he does? Is that what he's looking for? I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, and Eddie, apparently we served a Maybelline ad before Eddie came in. I think that says more about what you're browsing, Eddie, than the HLS brand.
I mean, Eddie, maybe you're born with it.
But yeah, for me, it always felt like Book's been pressing. That's really been the big thing for me. Feels like Book's been pressing. Feels like that once he started, Jafar went down, it's like, oh shit, need to take over. And it just got in his head. And anytime he's actually settled down and done the stuff that he knows he can do, he's been just fine. He just hasn't freaking done it. And now he's starting to put it together. He's starting to get back in the rhythm, and hopefully this is what we need to take that step there. Because like you said, the defense is meant to erase people. They only give up 228 yards. And that was... They only played, the first stringers played basically a half, and then everybody else got their time.
It wasn't even like a crazy sack or crazy turnover game. They just nullified them. And I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. But like I'm going to pronounce your name. I'm just going to spell it out. JGEDO7 says it's about having that running game with a pulse that can take some of that pressure off of Book so that he doesn't feel the need to compensate for it by running himself.
Yeah, and having, I think, that 2 tight end set, now the Komet's back, and Tremble has proven that he is a force to be reckoned with in the run blocking game as well. And now when you have those sets, when you have Tremble and Komet out there, you can't now. What do you do as a defensive coordinator? Do you come out there in your base package, or do you come out there in nickel? Because if you just stack the box, all Chip Long's going to do is like, watch this. And they're going to split them out right. It's like, have fun.
Yeah. I just made a Y shape on your field. Who do you want to stop?
Yeah. Oh, you came out in nickel? Okay, now we're just going to run it down your throat. Again, have fun. And that was also the idea behind the 2 running back sets with Jafar and Jones. It's like, okay, have fun trying to figure out where you're going to cover them. And, hey, we're going to put 2 in the backfield. No, we're going to split one out wide. That's the kind of personnel, the kind of mismatches that we were hoping for, and now it's finally getting realized. And as everybody gets a little bit healthier, because it sounds like Jafar Armstrong will not be a go for SC, which sucks, but is okay. If he's able to get back into it after the bye week at Michigan, man, talk about all systems go for the second half of the season.
Yeah, I feel like we can trust in the running game against a USC defense that's not exactly, burning the world or stopping many offenses. We can see what Tony Jones and, maybe get in Jameer Smith in there, because am I mistaken in that I believe Kyron Williams is now a redshirt candidate? He didn't play.
He did confirm that. Brian Kelly actually said that is the plan now, because he was also doing kickoff returns. Yep. He's been pulled from that unit as well. So
they brought in Mick Asaf there at the end, and I was like, okay, so Kyron Williams ain't doing it. Got it.
Exactly. Which, you know what? That's good. That's a good situation where it's like, you know what? We're fine now switching Avery Davis back over to be that additional changeup. And we don't have to waste a year of eligibility with Williams.
I'm calling it, but that kid, Kyron Williams, he's going to spend this next however long in the weight room. That kid's going to come out as a bowling ball next year.
And I think that's what they're waiting for is, look, if he has the ability, but he's actually got to put on the bulk. He's got to put on the weight. Let's go ahead and give him a year to do that. Let's not burn a red shirt right now. Because if you have Chris Tyree and that kid...
Bro! Don't get me all hype about the freshies that are coming. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's going to be weapons abound, and I mean I'm excited as far as what we got potentially down the road if everybody remains healthy, if Book plays the way we know he can play, if that terrifying stat of holding on to the ball more than 2.5 seconds starts to go in the opposite direction and starts going up, and he knows he can check down. And it's fine, because that's what. The number one thing that he struggles with is when defenses drop 8. because he looks up and sees coverage everywhere, and he doesn't wait for somebody to get open because he's convinced he's going to get murdered.
Too? Tommy fucking Reese. You know who probably saw that screen grab and is like printed it on goddamn like Kinko's 12 by 12 paper and is like in the middle of the quarterback room and said, "Hey, Ian, you see that? Let's talk about that."
Eddie's going to throw something across the room right now.
Oh my God!
As we all know, he loves one Tom Rees as a quarterback coach.
Oh yes.
But I mean, we could sit here and gush.
But that's essentially it. We saw the result. You know, we know this offense can hum. It's just Bowling Green is garbage.
Yeah, 573 total yards, 340 through the air, 233 on the ground, which is a hell of a lot of fun.
We like you.
But we had one penalty for 5 yards. Care to guess what that was?
Okay. Survey says, give me false start.
It was Hainsey, the guilty party. The only penalty. It's just like they have to needle us, right? Like it can't be too perfect.
Well, look, the sim was completely fucking ass backwards in the score, so it refused to be wrong in penalties.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of fun, and it did feel good. Look, BVG damaged all of us, and I love that the way we were hurting him, especially at the beginning of the game, was tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end. I remember Eddie on Twitter saying, it's like, hey, I remember this after the cajuicing at Stanford all that time ago.
We done got cajuiced. That's right.
I mean, it felt good to see that. You have, 4 different receivers that got touchdowns in this one. Oh, no, 6 different because I'm not counting Phil's.
Phil Dracovic. Yeah,
McKinley has over 100 yards despite that distribution to everybody. And, yeah, it could have been more had that last pass from Book got nailed.
I'll say this about Avery Davis. Just kind of, you mentioned Phil Dracovic, and his one touchdown pass was to Avery Davis. Does it not feel like if Avery Davis is going to contribute on this offense, every time he touched the ball in the run game, he got nuked, or he fell, or he looked terrible. But in the offense, in the passing game, he had his shit flying because he's got that speed. That's where he's best suited, I think.
I would almost... I don't know if we need to move him in another position, but he almost needs to be in that slot receiver type role. I mean, he needs to be there for those touch passes, for those jet sweeps, for being able to get to the outside, run some wheel routes, run some drag routes, because you want to get him out in space. Because he gets out in space and you give him some room to turn on the jets, he's awesome. But yeah, this was the experiment. Hey, it's Bowling Green. We can actually hand it off directly to you. Let's see what you do. And it was, just about what we thought.
Yeah, so we're not going to do that anymore.
And it's nothing. I mean, look, this kid, he's gone from quarterback to running back to defensive back to running back again. He's just trying to find his way on the field. And to Notre Dame's credit, they're trying to find ways to get the ball into his hands because he's got speed, he's got talent, and you hope it eventually pays off in one big explosive play somewhere.
Yep. All in all, though, I'm fucking happy. I'm ready for SC. Like immediately as soon as the game was over, just like kill the Trojans, kill the Trojans.
I think it's about time to say the fuck SC. We are in FUSC week now. It's crazy that it's already upon us.
I love it. You know, the reminder is, USC week. Oh shit, I need to buy some Code Red.
Oh, I don't know if my body can do that shit anymore, man. Oh, freaking Trojan blood. Yeah. But yeah, it is FUSC week. It's time to get the Southern Cal hate running hot, and man. It should be. There's a coach that needs firing over there.
Yep.
Let's get somebody's ass fired on the tarmac once again.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, the sim. Oh god, the sim's gonna be. I'm expecting nothing but glorious chaos.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like decorating him, the Jesus in the background, to join in the hatred. Maybe give him a drink of his own over here and a USC shirt.
That'd be great. All right, folks. Well, that is going to do it for us in this week recap. Thank you to everybody that joined us here live over on twitch.tv/HerLittlesons. Make sure you come join us again on Wednesday when I rejoin with Eddie for picks at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at. Join us in Discord, herlittlesons.com/Discord. Of course, you always find us at herlittlesons.com. It's rivalry week, y'all. Go Irish FSC. Have a good one.